This is Smoking Out the Closet. Now, here are your hosts, Alex and Rayven Greer.
Hi, my name is Rayven. I use she, her pronouns.
Hi, I'm Alex. I use they, them pronouns.
Welcome back to another episode of
Smoking Out the Closet.
How's it going, guys?
How's everybody?
So a couple things I wanted to talk about before we get into a bunch of big topics so we can come back to it. I would also like to mention that this is our final episode before Christmas.
Oh, it is.
Because I was looking at the calendar a little bit ago. We released this episode before Christmas, and I'm not sure if I don't think we're going to do one during Christmas. Let me actually pull up the calendar on my computer. Because this will come out
On the 21st.
Yeah.
Is that Tuesday?
And then the Sunday is Boxing Day.
Yeah. So we're probably not going to do anything.
Okay.
Yeah, this is going to be our last one before Christmas.
So we wanted to wish everybody a happy, holly, jolly Christmas. I believe it's also the first day of Kwanzaa, or the second day, so happy Kwanzaa. Hanukkah's passed, and I still haven't gotten the Islamic one yet. Not back. But happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays. Also, I feel like I made an error in saying we're probably not doing anything that Tuesday, that we weren't having an episode out before the end of the year. Because we haven't talked about that yet. Because it's like, we would be recording on Boxing Day and releasing
For New Year's.
Yeah. So yeah, we're doing that.
Hey.
Did you, if you want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. I'm sorry, I wasn't sure about that planning.
Yeah, we're going to release a New Year's episode.
Sorry, I'm really high.
You're good. So one thing I do want to apologize for was on last episode, I got really high. I got too high. You even talked about it a little bit. And, I do want to apologize. I was re-listening to our episode while I was on the bus today, and I just felt really bad because I felt like I wasn't really present for that episode.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about things to do to help you get over being too high. And you smoked a lot more than I have. You're a lot more of the knowledge base for the weed stuff. A lot of the stuff I've learned within the year.
I'm a lot more seasoned. I've tried a lot more things.
Exactly. Where I'm a lot more of that with the queer side. So I was going to propose that I ring up what I know, and then you add to it.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so things you want to do when you get too high. Water. Stay... You good?
Speaking of which, water, yes.
Stay hydrated.
Hydrate or die straight.
The water helps with your body to process the THC that's going through your blood system somehow. It doesn't flush it out, but it helps your body to deal with the process.
What it does naturally, just kind of help it along. Water helps everything along.
Okay.
That's the sciencey, nursey stuff behind it because I know how that works too.
Yeah.
The oxygen attaches to the hydrogen atoms. So if you have more water, you have more of those hydrogen and oxygen atoms already there. So they have more to attach to. So it circulates more blood throughout your body. It helps like tissue process, repairs faster.
Okay.
Clear out like the toxins in your kidneys faster. It basically it's like the lube because you're 70% water basically. So it's like putting oil in a car.
Lie down. I don't know why I got a tickle in my throat. Remember some of your water?
You stay hydrated.
I just downed an entire glass.
I almost down the entire quarter of a bottle I had. I had a quarter of a liter sitting here. It's almost gone. We didn't have a lot of the breath filter. We need to fill that extra good before we get high.
Well, yeah, but also they were messing with the water again today.
Yeah. They've been messing with the water a lot.
Well, what was I going to say? Lie down.
Yeah, lie down.
Or get into a position that is comfortable for you to be in for a bit. Turn the lights off. Kind of just don't... Now, this is actually a bit I also kind of got from Life is Strange True Colors when Alex, the character you play as, gets too high.
Oh my god, I love that video game. It's out on the Switch now. I'm gonna gush real quick.
I saw that commercial.
It's out on the Switch now. The commercial plays, and I just...
It's animated, not like CGI. It's 2D animated. And I was like, wait, are they making a show?
I kind of want to get it for the Switch now, just because it's on the Switch, and I say I can play it again on the Switch, but I have it for the PS5, and I love that game. I rave about it so much.
It's kind of the tips that Alex gets. I think her name was Charlotte.
Yes, Charlotte was one of the dispensary, and Alex is like, how many of these should I have eaten?
And just like, calm down, lay down, drink plenty of water, it'll pass.
Yeah.
Sorry I keep clearing my throat. I haven't taken my allergy meds today, because they're 24 hours, I can't take them again for another... I'm good now.
Yeah.
But... I probably should have took them before we started this podcast, so I'm real sorry about me constantly clearing my throat today. But some people have suggested put on comforting music.
Mm-hmm.
Not like loud, like lo-fi or yoga music.
Like sleep sounds.
Sleep sounds, the relaxation music that they put on in spas.
Yeah, like that new age stuff that you could just kind of drift off to, but not really sleep. You can just calm down and be zen.
Exactly. I mean, go to sleep.
Yeah, go to sleep. Sleep it off. Like, if you feel comfortable enough.
Yeah, exactly.
All of these are taken with the grain of salt caution of if you feel safe enough to do so.
And everything has to be what works for you.
Yeah. Kind
of thing. These are things that so far have always helped me. The biggest thing is sleep it off. And some people, there's a joke around that I've heard where people say, you overdosing on weed, that means you just take a really long nap.
Yeah, that's pretty much all it is.
Yeah.
That's the joke. Because it's not physically possible to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
To overdose on weed. It's physically impossible. They calculated it out. There's no way to smoke that much pot.
But here's the thing I'm worried about. I worried that because I got a migraine the next day.
Yeah.
And I'm worried is because I smoked too much, or just because I didn't have enough water, and the weed didn't help with that.
Because the weed speeds stuff up. Usually no matter what kind of strain it is, or what, if it's a sativa or an indica, they speed your heart rate up, so you're using more of that blood, more of that oxygen, and the water and stuff, so you're going to need more water, period.
Yeah, so definitely hydrate. Don't be like me and get a migraine, and then, have to get sent home from work because, your head's splitting in two. Mm-hmm. But also, to be fair, it could have been my neck for my head injury.
You were super tense and, you had another knot in there.
So, I don't know what happened, but I just wanted to be as a warning, you can't get dehydrated.
Yes, very easily.
So, you wanted to bring up something today.
I thought you wanted me to build off of those.
Oh, yeah, well,
you wanted to talk about those, and I wanted to build off of them. I was letting you talk, and then I was going to build off of them.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Alright, so build off of them.
So, I've heard of all of those, and also a couple I wanted to add was hot showers. Hot showers seem to help a lot with, just kind of working it out of your system, kind of moving it through, because you're keeping your body warm, you're getting that temperature out, stuff's moving around faster. And,
sorry, I'm trying to signal Alex to, where they want to be volume-wise, because, a few moments ago they were shouting.
I still have no idea.
And then they just went really, really, really quiet.
I still have no idea where I need to be. I'm so sorry.
It's a lot harder to tell when you're stoned.
Yeah.
Because, if you're looking at, the sound waves right now, this is kind of the area you want to be. These are okay. You're shooting up yellow here. But, these are, the upper greens where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to try talking?
Yeah, sure. I'll say something. Where am I at right now?
Here.
Okay.
See, you're a little quieter here.
Yeah. Okay. This is going to be really weird trying to listen back to this unless you're going to edit all this out.
No, I'm not editing this out. This is funny to me.
This is okay.
See, these are good.
Yeah, okay. I'm so sorry. I have a hard time controlling the pitch of my voice.
I know. I'm still learning how to do things with Audacity. So it's kind of hard for me to pinpoint exactly how to level a section without messing with the whole audio file and ruining it.
Understandable.
But you were going to build off of what I said.
Build off what you said. So showers, warm showers. I remember in college when I smoked a lot of pot. Like, I'm talking more pot than I smoke now. A lot of pot. Like, gram a week. Well, I thought gram a week was a lot of pot, but it was just like, I cut it and made it. But I high every day, basically. High off my ass every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's the moral of the story. Because it's not quantity, it's how it affects you. But like, super high all the time, right? And I remember getting too high, or like knowing I needed to come down soon to go to bed, or whatever was going on, and I'd take a warm shower. And that warm shower just helps everything move around. The opposite can have the same effect. If it's cold outside, walk outside. Get some cold air on your face. Kind of, chippers you up a little bit, so that way you come more sober. Those are two things that I've noticed helps, like temperature, play-wise. Okay. Kind of the same thing you do with the migraine, you know? Mm-hmm. If he's not helping it, ice it. Stuff like that.
Okay.
So, because that's bringing another, like, sense into it. Kind of like when you have an anxiety attack. If you do your 5 senses, it helps bring you back down, helps ground you. So the same kind of grounding techniques you can do. Walking it out. You can write it out. I've done that before too. Just kind of walk yourself through it, remind yourself it's temporary, kind of like you said. That just, you're going to be alright. You know? It's not forever.
Yeah. And I know some people will have, like, bad experiences to the point where, like, they will stop using it, or,
I did that for a while.
Yeah.
Before I got my card.
Or even just, like, stop using weed altogether, or, like, start, like, demonizing it because they had a bad trip or a bad experience. When a lot of it is just user error. And I will admit, on my end, for last time, was definitely my error because I didn't realize how big that bowl was in that new pipe.
Yeah.
And I smoked it all, being very green with glass pipes.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to like actual pipes, like you like a corncob pipe.
I made the same mistake with my pipe, and I got a little bit too high last episode as well. It was something new I was smoking and a new device. We were trying to figure things out. There were a lot of variables working against this last episode.
Yeah, and I don't think it was a bad episode. We just had to cut it short.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to add to that?
Snacks. Snack on things. You get that something in there to help your body process that THC. Get those cannabinoids moving. Like have something to attach to. Kind of like the same thing with liquor. If you're too drunk, to quote unquote absorb it, for a lack of a better term. So.
Cool.
Yeah. Snacks. Cool. I'm promoting snacking when you're stoned. Because it also does actually boost your metabolism, so it's fine. Reach for the gummy bears. Not the THC gummy bears you're trying to come down. The regular ones. CBD.
Yes.
CBD also helps. Right. That's CBD. Another thing I wanted to mention. Something high in CBD. So if it seems counterintuitive, you want to come down for your previous sesh, have a sesh of CBD flower. Standing by. Mix it if you need to. Because you and I were talking about that when I was first trying to get into flower again.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Like, CBD does counteract the psychoactive components that are in THC. For some reason, I don't understand the science behind it of how exactly it combats it, but it does counteract it. I do know that.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure about that either. That'd be cool to look into.
That'd be cool to get like a cannabis scientist on there and be like, talk to them and be like, hey, you're a weed scientist person. Explain this.
You're a weed nerd.
That might be something I might have to do, like a little trip down a rabbit hole one night.
Yeah.
And try finding out. Wasn't there something you wanted to bring up about work? I can't remember. You're telling me stuff. I can't remember.
I don't know.
Okay. That's fine. I can't remember.
I can't remember for life. Did I say it tonight?
Yeah.
I said it tonight. And I wanted to talk about it on the podcast.
I think you were making fun of people.
Yeah, I was making fun of people today. Oh, the stone dude. The stone dude that came into my... Oh my god. About. this stone dude who came into my store. So I came in. It was 9 o'clock in the morning. We don't open till 10. So on the door, right? I walk in. I unlock the door. Unlock the gate. I go to the safe. I start the safe to count the drawers. My guy rolls up because I forgot to lock the door. Made the mistake of forgetting to lock the door. Everybody in retail, I know you're gasping. You never do that.
You gasped.
Because that's how the weirdos get in. That's what we call them. My guy pokes his head through my door. Through the gate that I, mostly closed. And he goes, yo, got any Xboxes? And I'm like, we're not open. I was looking for an Xbox. I was like, yeah, we open at 10 and I start walking towards the door. Like, I'm going to lock the gate. And he was like, oh, no. I just want to know the price of an Xbox. I was like, we open at 10. We're not open right now. And just closed the door, locked it. Like, one of those things, like, how, in Beetlejuice, they're talking to, Barbara Jean, who's trying to sell their house, and they're, like, pulling the blinds and shit. I felt like one of those kind of scenes. I'm trying to block her out, right? And so, like, yeah, it's like, bruh. The moral of the story is, though, he smelled like some dank. And, like, his eyes were red and watery. He was on some dank. So, like, I felt a little bit, I sympathize with the guy, because I've been that high before.
Yeah.
But, like, still, bruh, 9 o'clock, Xbox, 9 o'clock in the morning. The fuck?
He must have had a fucking huge-ass wake and bake.
Yeah.
At 9 o'clock in the morning to be that fucking high.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I did want to bring up was some news from our, red maple leaf neighbors up north.
Oh, yeah.
From, the nation of Canada.
Canada.
These are little jokes we share sometimes. We're talking about Canada.
Yeah.
Canada on the 8th, nationwide banned conversion therapy across the entire board.
That's awesome. You guys are awesome.
So for those of you who don't know what conversion therapy is, and trigger warning for those who've ever gone to experiences with these events, warning here for you, just be on the safe side. If these are scenes that like are a little like hard for you to remember, or like just bringing up the topic, you are free to like
skip ahead
if you want to. Stop the episode and come back to another episode. We will not be offended.
No.
Take care of your mental health first and foremost. Conversion therapy camps are what a lot of people like to call the pray the gay away camps.
Yeah.
Conversion therapy is not always religious based, but there's more that are religious based that aren't. Kind of how, like, in the same breath, like, it's not all men, but there's more that are than there aren't.
Yeah.
So with that same breath, it's like that. It's basically these camps psychologically, mentally, and emotionally abuse mostly kids to get them to become straight. And it's usually parents who send them to these camps.
Yeah.
No, I didn't read all the legislation that is going to be in Canada, but I think if you are sending your kids to these camps, it's going to be child abuse or child neglect.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Something the way that it should be.
Yeah, exactly. So, two things. Canada's got legal weed.
Heck yeah.
You just can't buy edibles at a like a shop.
Dude, that's half the fun. You make your own.
Exactly. And they banned conversion therapy.
Yins are cool.
Okay, are you accepting Americans?
Can we come
Can we
there?
Please?
Please. We promise we'll be nice and productive to the community.
Well, yeah. Canada's looking real nice.
Oh, yeah. Canada's looking real nice.
The only downside is colder.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I like wearing long sleeves anyway.
You do.
I like wearing layers. You can look more androgynous with more layers. More layers equals more androgynous. That's what people don't understand.
True. But yeah, super, super proud of our neighbors up north.
We love you guys.
Are definitely lacking when it comes to certain progressive areas.
Yeah.
In a lot of progressive areas.
Yeah.
So yeah. Canada's, actually owning up to the shitty history it's had. America's still bearing it.
Yeah.
So good on you, Canada. I mean, I know there's always, we're probably going to get messages from people up north be like, oh, Canada's not exactly perfect. And I'm not saying any country is perfect.
No.
You're a lot better than here, though. That's what I am saying.
Yeah.
And really glad you guys did this. What else did I have? Oh, yeah, I also wanted to talk about LGBTQIA+, aka the Alphabet Mafia, some of the basics. Because I have some people that I know that listen to this. I'm not going to say where I know them, to keep their identity safer. That know kind of the L, the G, and the B, and a very small bit of the T, but know nothing beyond that. Hi, Finn. You're too close to the microphone, buddy. I love you, but not right now. Go play with your brother.
I love you, but not now. I don't love you right now.
No,
That's what I made it sound like.
No, I love him, but I don't want him on my lap right now.
I know. Meow.
Meow.
I see what you did there. Did you just say meow? I don't know what you're talking about, meow.
But, so, the LGBT is lesbian, gay, bisexual, and trans. For transgender, shortened to trans. Do you know why the L is in the front?
Because of the way the lesbians help the gays.
Exactly. During the AIDS epidemic, most lesbians actually helped gay men, took care of them when no one else would.
And, donated blood for them to use and stuff.
Exactly. So, to honor their sacrifice and everything during that struggle and that time, the community put the L in front. Because it used to be just the gays, then the gays and lesbians, and then the lesbian and gays, and then they added the B, and I don't remember when they added the T. But when I was a kid, it was LGBT.
Yeah, same.
Nowadays, the most common one is LGBTQIA+. Some people have started using SAGA, which is sexuality and gender... something. I can't remember.
You think it's so hard about that.
Yeah, I know. I can't
see
remember.
The wheels turning.
I can't remember. I wanted to say expansive, but that's E. But basically, it's sexuality and gender diversity.
Yeah.
What it breaks down to. It's an acronym that starts with an A for diversity.
I've also heard people just do the LGBTQ+.
Mm-hmm. So, the Q is queer or questioning.
Yeah. I identify as queer.
I is for intersex. A is for ace and arrow, which are ace is asexual, which is you don't experience sexual attraction like people do, and arrow is aromantic, which you don't experience romantic attraction. And we'll go deeper into that in a little bit. And the plus is for everything else, as there's some stuff that's still being added today, like Two-Spirit with Native Americans. There are some that actually have 2S, which would be Two-Spirit.
Yeah.
There's some that have N for non-binary. They have some that are Q or G like gender. Like, they'll have multiple letters.
Yeah.
So some people in the community just say it's the Alphabet Mafia. It's just the Alphabet Mafia. It's a bowl of alphabet soup. It's a Scrabble
soup.
bag.
Yeah.
Same
thing.
And it's ever expanding and ever evolving, and I use the LGBTQIA+ terminology for it personally. But whatever you use, it's not wrong.
Yeah.
It's valid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You should just say the LGBT community, because we know that, LGBTQIA+ is a mouthful.
Yeah.
So, what exactly is the plus? Is it, a paid subscription to not get ads?
It's the premium edition of gay. It comes with extra glitter.
Oh god, no, glitter, ew. I hate glitter. And you know that. That's why you said it.
You're like the only queer woman on the face of the earth that doesn't like glitter.
No, okay, so the plus includes everything that's not included on the other list, as is an ever-expanding community. So you have things like pansexual, which I am. Pansexual is more hearts, not parts. And a lot of people say you can't have a preference. I personally subscribe to where you can have a preference, but it's not like... You can have a preference to parts, or you can have a preference to, like... Or me personally, it's more femininity.
And I identify similar, but I use a different term.
Yes, you use it more as, like, the sexual side? Because I don't know...
Like the sexual attraction side.
Yeah, because I don't know if you're into effeminate men. I really like effeminate men. That's what I mean for femininity.
No, because if I'm into men, I'm into, like, men. Like, a specific type of man.
A Chad.
No.
The big buff Chad.
No. Shush.
Oh, you mean, like...
Artsy, bearded...
Bald,
smart, bald, or
ginger.
Ginger. You know exactly who you are. If you're listening to this, who you are. Don't say his name. Don't say his name. But he knows exactly who he is. He's on my Facebook. He likes our podcast posts all the time. Him. My guy's like him. And then there's like an outlier. There's one outlier. He also listens to this podcast.
So I have a thing for very effeminate men. I'm not saying that I won't date a super macho masculine man, but I like being a top. I like being in charge. And I like femboys. Always have, always will.
See, my thing is, but like, going back to what I was talking about. Sorry, I didn't mean to take over the conversation. I didn't wrap my stuff up. So kind of more gynosexual, being someone who isn't a woman who's attracted to exclusively women, but that doesn't really encompass it all. So I just say I'm queer.
Mm-hmm.
So that way it's an umbrella. So if you're curious, you can ask more, because that's the closest word I found.
Exactly.
Because it's like 1% of men, 99% of feminine identifying leaning people.
Basically the SpongeBob thing of with Plankton's breakdown and the ingredients thing he was going to use in SpongeBob. It's 99% women and feminine non-binary people and 1% men.
Exactly. Yes, that's basically it at this point.
So there was another one, I think it's omnisexual, which is very similar to pansexual. Some people use it where it's like it's like pansexual, but you have a preference. Where that definition is very rooted for them, and that is valid.
And I know somebody who identifies that way.
Exactly, we both do.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there was anything wrong with that. Me personally, the way I identify with pansexual is, yes, I do have a preference, but if I'm going to like someone, I'm not going to look at, like, what they have.
And make that be the deciding
factor. Exactly. It's just more of, do I like them as a person? Do we, vibe together? Do we actually connect at all? That, I think, is where the biggest, kind of difference is, because someone who identifies as omnisexual will have that into consideration.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, we cool? You want to play D&D?
I'm also, like, in that weird intersection between the two. When I feel like I express my sexual attraction and romantic attraction, it intermingles between, like, am I sexually attracted to you because of sexual attraction, or am I, like, falling and having feelings, and that's causing the sexual attraction? So
that where we can actually kind of slide into the romantic spectrum and the sexuality spectrum. So you can be going back to the asexual.
Yeah.
So there's varying levels of the asexual spectrum. Like everything's on the spectrum.
Yes.
You have demisexual, where you have, like, it takes really, really, really strong emotional connections for you to have that urge to have sexual attraction to someone.
And I've known someone who identifies that way and talked to them, so.
And this isn't saying that people who are ace can't have sex. Sometimes they do. Some people are sex repulsed. I've known one of my old roommates was like that. Some people who actually are asexual work in the sex industry. I know someone on TikTok like that. The thing is, they don't have sexual attraction. They enjoy it.
Yeah.
But there's no attraction with it, if that makes sense.
No attraction to the person, but enjoying the act, I guess.
Yeah, it's like... I'm trying to think of a good analogy. It's like... You're vegetarian.
Yeah.
And you get a black bean burger. And you're like... Or, you know, in an Impossible... We'll use the Impossible Whopper, right?
Yeah.
It tastes like a burger, but it's not a burger. And you're enjoying it, but it's not a burger. Yeah. You don't have the meat in there.
Understandable. You don't crave the meat. You crave the flavor of the thing that tastes like the meat.
Except... But, like, the flavor is the... So, say that's, like... Like, that flavor is a sexual attraction.
Yeah.
Aces will go after, like, a black bean burger.
Yeah.
If that makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. It's really hard and complicated. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. Everyone's different. Everyone's identity of how they interpret it is valid.
Yes. We're not trying to invalidate it. But...
Exactly. This is just from my understanding as someone who's had a lot of experiences with these different people in the community. Where aro people or aromantic people don't have romantic attraction. They'll have sexual attraction, but they don't do, like, the dating thing. And I know a couple of people like that. I actually had a person I dated who was ace, and we were friend dating. That's what we called it. I was head over heels for them. I still really care for them. We both moved apart physically. And just, they got busy, I got busy, and I haven't talked to them in like a couple of years. I feel really, really, really bad. So if you're listening to this, you know who I'm talking about. Really sorry. Still really care for you. Still really care about you. I hope you're doing okay. But we were friend dating. Basically all it was whenever we hung out, we watched movies and cuddled. Which I'm okay with. Fun. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, I cared more about them as a person than I did about any of, like, the dating side or, like, the like, physical, like, sexual stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm trying to censor myself. This is, like, a explicit podcast.
Yeah, it says explicit on whenever you listen to it on, so...
Fuck shit, pussycat, eyes, dumb. Alright,
nobody gives a fuck what you say. It's explicit. If the kids are watching, it's whatever.
Yeah, it's on the parents, not me. Even though I say that, I know my little sister listens to it, but my little sister also knows I swear like a sailor.
Yeah, and me too. So this is no news to her.
So you have that side. So broke down that. So gender stuff.
Yeah, gender stuff.
You have transgender, which again is an umbrella term.
Huge umbrella. The genders are umbrellas and spectrums. So you have like the spectrum underneath the umbrellas.
It's sexuality too. Like
all of it.
Like there are over-encompassing terms that cover some of these identities. Like going back to asexual. Asexual is an umbrella term, and demisexual would be one of the ones underneath that.
Gay is just, you can mean a lot of things by that.
Exactly.
So umbrella.
Queer. The biggest one.
That's the one that I use. The hugest one. Just because it's like, just ask me, I'll tell you. Would you move? Sorry. Bear was trying to
you're good. So, transgender is basically you identify as a gender that is not what the doctors say you are at birth.
Yeah.
So, in my case, I am a male to female trans woman. I was AMAB, or assigned male at birth. I'm pointing over like an animation like AMAB above my head for some reason.
I don't know, there's no camera.
But basically, I was assigned male at birth. I get to a point in my life where, that didn't fit. And it took a while. At first I identified as gender fluid. And then I slowly started realizing that I was always staying on women for way, way, way longer than male. Or non-binary.
Yeah.
So, with the help of you and my therapist at the time, I kind of realized, like, oh, I'm just a trans woman. And I've been here ever since, that way. But Also, before I go further into the trans stuff, your identity can change over time, and that is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It is your journey, and what you feel like at one moment can change later down the road. That is totally valid and okay, and doesn't, invalidate what you were before, or what you will be after, and what you are now. Because there's a lot of people who say, like, oh, the kids that, like, detransition are, like, the reason why we shouldn't do any of this, where most of those kids, that's, like, 1 out of, like, how many thousand.
Yeah.
So it's, like, super, super rare. But when you have, like, how many kids killing themselves because, people are telling them, like, they shouldn't be this way, they shouldn't, The reason why there's people who detransition is because there's some issue in our community with the trans community that are saying, like, you have to be on hormones, you have to have gender dysphoria, you have to have XYZ to be trans.
Yeah. And
the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
But before we get to the bad side of the community, I want to get the basics still. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So you have the trans umbrella, and other than you have non-binary, gender fluid, trans men, trans women, gender flux,
trans mask, trans femme,
gender queer, agender. Did I already say non-binary?
Yeah, you said gender flux. Did you say gender fluid?
I thought I started with gender fluid.
What about gender solid?
Oh
Ayo. Fuck, I'm sorry, that was bad.
That is bad. You did a bad pun, but I've seen things on Tumblr that talked about gender fluid and gender solid, gender gas, and gender plasma. I'm not sure if that was a meme or someone was being serious. If you are, cool. Can you tell me what they are exactly and how the breakdown on that is? Because I'm very curious.
I'm very curious too.
Like, I just remember seeing it when I had my comic on Tumblr.
It's gender science, man.
But yeah, fun fact, if you guys ever read the comic Changeling on Tumblr from the blog Gender Fluid Greer, hi, that was me.
Yeah.
That comic has reached, like, doctors' pages before.
Which is so freaking cool.
I didn't realize how far it went.
It's so cool.
But yeah, hi, that's me. I'm actually going to revive that comic. I don't know if I'm going to use the same title. But because I'm no longer gender fluid, I don't feel right using the blog Gender Fluid Greer. So I might start a new blog on Tumblr and post it on other places.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was me. Hi. Still finding people even out here that read my comic.
It's so cool.
I think it was weird.
I think it's so cool, though. Like, so many people have seen it. It's so popular.
Yeah, we'll post a picture of it on the Instagram, like, be like, hey, yeah, this used to be my work.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do webcomics. I'm trying to get published as a graphic novelist, so that's what I do in my spare time besides this podcast.
It's so cool. You're like a mini celebrity. It's so cool.
Stop.
Didn't you say there were people out here that read it? Like, wow.
Yeah. Someone
so
I matched with on
cool.
Tinder.
That is so cool.
Has read it. Because we were talking about how I'm trans and, like, I write comics and, like, you've seen this blog? And I'm like, yeah.
That's me.
That's me. No. I'm like, yeah. Take a picture of me, and then I take a picture, like, scroll one of my older pictures, and, like, oh my god, that is you. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's me.
I'm aware. I was there.
But yeah, there's a lot of, like, spectrums and everything now. I don't know what else to bring up with the basics of certain things, other than, because it's gonna just go, you're vibing again.
Yeah, I am.
I don't know what to go else with, like, basics, because it's just gonna go into a bigger breakdown.
Yeah. Basically.
What I will recommend is, if you know anyone who's curious, if you yourself are curious about the community, besides, just just besides lesbian, gay, and bisexual, get the book, The ABCs of LGBT. I've been recommending that to my higher-ups so they can understand a bit more.
So many plugs for that book. It's so great. It's on my Amazon wish list and on my Goodreads to read shelf.
Yeah, it's a good book, and can't recommend it enough. You are.
Oh my God,
you okay?
I'm really high. Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
Good.
Great. But yeah, also to be safe, you're not sure someone's pronouns, use they them. That was a singular pronoun up until like 1890 something. Yeah. It was recognized, and then we stopped using it for some reason.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want to hear anyone saying like, "Oh no, we don't use that." And I'm like, "You sure?"
What if somebody dropped their wallet? What do? You
go like, "Oh yeah." Hey, I think that was theirs. You're pointing like someone over there.
Yeah,
or like,
because you're not.
Did you see them in that car? They were going crazy.
Yeah,
there's only one person in that car, though. I know, and they were crazy.
Yeah, you use it all the time already.
What was I saying before I started having that sneezing fit?
You use that days all the time, and it's not that hard, people.
Or here, I'll even make fun of like some people in certain communities. Not like some of the stoners. What do you use when you don't want to identify what the gender of whatever people you were hanging out with, or cheating on someone with, or having a smoke session with? What do you use? Or who you out with? You don't want to say your buddy like Nikki, because everyone knows Nikki's a fucking stoner, and everyone knows that every time you hang out with Nikki, you come in, rig it a pot. So your brother just like, I was hanging out with a couple buds. They're good.
You use they. There you go.
Yeah. Or, I said bud, so
one of my friend. I was hanging out
with a friend, and
they were pretty cool.
Exactly. So you use it without thinking about it.
But when you think about it for some reason, then people are like, what?
Yeah. So, who knows?
I experienced that firsthand.
I know. It's ridiculous.
There's also a cute little book called The Quick Guide to They Them Pronouns. We have it. I found it when we were moving.
Yeah, I bought that.
I love it. I'm like, I want everybody that I know to read this. Amanda doesn't need to read it. She's got it down. She's like my biggest supporter and everything, and I love it.
Really?
Well, other than you.
Okay,
obviously, you're
I'm
number
your biggest
one.
supporter.
I said one of my biggest supporters. Amanda's freaking amazing.
I know, but I'm the head honcho on your support network.
Yes, you are. You always have been.
Do you want to talk about the negative sides of like the LGBT community?
Yeah. We should probably bring up the bads with the goods.
Okay. So, some of y'all, and you know who I'm talking about, and I'm quoting Tyler from It's a Podcast. You need to cut off the racist shit, alright? Just knock it the fuck off.
Knock it off.
So, what a lot of people don't realize is there are a lot of, especially gays, especially gay men, who are very racist and not realizing it. And then when they get confronted about it, they're like, what? No, I'm a minority too. And I'm like, yeah, but you can still inflict discrimination on other minorities while being a minority yourself.
Yeah.
Case in point. There was a book I was reading at the time, I'm just going to call it what it is now. It is the Sexuality and Gender Diversity Student Resource Center at Penn State. I was reading a book about the different kinds of queer men. And one of them, a real old book, it's like from the 80s. Mm-hmm. And one of them was called A Rice Queen. A rice queen is a white man who dates, or I think it's a gay man, but this is obviously written in the views of a white man.
Yeah.
Who dates predominantly Asian men.
Interesting.
Yeah, right? Kind of fucked up.
Kind of screwed up. And very specific.
Yeah, very kind of fucked up. There's a lot of things.
Fuck?
There's a lot of things that gay men take from African American culture, especially African American women.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. And then white people have been doing that for a long time, especially in the States.
Yeah.
But, Elvis. But there's a lot of things that, they've taken. Like, South Park did a big, joke about it with Mr. Garrison and Chef.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, we used to call it his house. Then we got to call it histy. Because, a bunch of gay white folks kept taking it. Now we just call it histy-bop-a-doo-bop. Or something like that. It's a big gibberish word, right? And then freaking Mr. Garrison is like, all right, bye, Chef. Me and Mr. Slave got to go back to our histy-bop-a-bop. He goes, no, don't take it. That's the same example where there's a lot of, like, things that they take. A lot of drag and stuff has gone into a lot of things.
Yeah.
Have been taken from African American people and African American women. Like the chirp thing. Like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
That's been taken. Now, some of it has been spread by RuPaul himself, who is African American? I believe they are. If I remember some of the conversations they've had with another contestant, and they said they were cut from the same thread, so that makes me I'm going to guess that they are, but they're very racially ambiguous, like Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars is very racially ambiguous, too, but he's not African-American at all.
Does Bruno Mars is gay?
Oh, God, you're going to bring that up. I knew it.
Does he?
Like, I just learned that not too long ago. Bruno Mars isn't African-American at all.
What?
Yeah, he's Southern Asian and something else.
Wow. Yeah, he's very racially ambiguous. Like,
right?
He's that racial ambiguity is like the androgyny of the race part.
It is, and some people use it in a good way, and some people use it in a very bad way.
Yeah.
And some people point it out with other celebrities. Anyway, that's a breakdown for another day, because I don't know the facts on that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, RuPaul is very ambiguous with a lot of things as a person.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of things that had brought up, like, in drag, predominantly white drag performers have a lot more money to put towards their drag, like the winner of that exact season I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Where it was season 7, I believe. It's either season 6 or season 7. And there's one performer who's literally going to the craft store every day in that episode, staying up till 2 a.m. to make her dresses because she didn't have the money to buy all the outfits like the one person who started with an A, I can't remember her name, did. All I remember is the biggest one she did that really wowed me was she had, like, everyone had to make mermaid outfits. Mm-hmm. And she did hers kind of a comment on the BP oil spill, and hers was actually covered, like, sludge and stuff, and, like, very dark-esque. And I'm like, okay, as an emo that does drag, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. But she won at 19 years old. I'm using she because of the drag persona.
Yeah.
Because she had the money for it.
Yeah.
Some of the other contestants did not have the money for it. And that is a big problem of drag. And I actually had to step down because I didn't have the money for it, along with the, health issues I had.
Yeah.
And that is an issue that, like, a lot of people don't address, is a lot of the minorities don't have the same funds to throw into drag to get to these bigger performances, to get to these higher places.
The first people that come to mind are two brothers. I think they're brothers, or just two very gay men on TikTok.
Are you talking about the ones that look very similar to each other? That do the drag transitions?
Yes.
That talked about, like, walked through the street and talked about the difference between drag and transgender?
Yes. I feel like they're very affluent. That they have a lot of money for their drag.
They do. But if you notice, a lot of their stuff looks handmade.
Yeah.
Or a lot of it is thrift stuff, because a lot of their outfits are based on the 90s.
Yeah, you're right.
So they're probably cutting corners there.
Yeah.
But yes, they do have a lot of, they have to have some sort of, like, money, because I know those shoes they wear are not cheap.
No.
But yes, like, going to, like, James Charles. James Charles has a lot of money for that makeup and is very effeminate. I don't know how they identify. I don't really care after the whole racial thing. James Charles is a perfect answer of being in the LGBT community and being a racist.
Wasn't there an issue with RuPaul and trans women?
Yes, RuPaul originally did state, the Twitter posts have been deleted, but the internet keeps them forever, that it is unfair for trans women to participate in Rue's drag show because of
the bazoingas.
Yeah.
From the estrogen.
Mm.
Like
I'm paraphrasing. Obviously, someone can find the exact tweet.
That's similar to the whole like trans women in sports thing.
Mm-hmm. No. Here's the thing too. A lot of people, and I'm sorry at the table again. Sorry. There's a disconnect between the sexuality diversity side and the gender diversity side, and I'm going to bring this side up. To all the transphobic queers out there, knock your shit off.
Oh yeah,
to all the homophobic trans people out there, knock your shit off. I will find you all, and I'll crack your freaking skulls open. Not really. Legally, I am joking. But knock it off. Or you're going to get detention for 2 months. 2. Quoting the Breakfast Club. I said my piece. I got right up to the mic for that. But yes.
Oh my god.
The amount of lesbians that are TERFs is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because they're really men just invading lesbian spaces where I'm like,
Excuse me?
I have never once felt right as a guy. Ever. Looking back, I was more depressed as a person because of that. And I didn't realize it at the time.
Yeah. And I've been realizing that with my gender stuff too. Like, I was never comfortable as a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. And I tried so hard to either fix it or hide it, and I didn't have the words for it.
Exactly.
And it was depressing as hell. And I was trying to live as a person that I wasn't.
Exactly. And now there are women who, cis and trans, who are into other women, and they're okay with having a cis and or a trans partner, or even both. Because polyamory is a thing.
Yeah. It's like me. I like women. I don't care if you're a cis woman. I don't care if you're a trans woman. I love all women. They're so beautiful.
And they're like, oh, well, you have this part. It's okay to not like that part.
Yeah.
But don't invalidate the person who has that part, and if they had bottom surgery to get the part that you do like, don't be like, ew.
Yeah.
And be an asshole for that, because it is now the part you like.
Yeah. That shit just blows my mind.
Exactly, and it is ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is.
Now, on the other hand, the gold star gay thing pisses me off, too.
Yeah?
So the gold star gay is basically you've never had sex with a person of an opposite sex.
Oh,
i.e., if you were a gay man, you never had sex with someone with a vagina.
That shit.
And a lot of people discredit trans men when you have sex with them, saying you're no longer a gold star gay. Because, I can't remember the webcomic I was reading. It was on Tumblr back in the day when I was at college. That was basically people were saying he wasn't allowed to consider himself a gold star gay because he dated a trans man. Now, keep in mind, he knew he was gay at a very young age. Never dated a woman. Never even been on, had any relations with a woman. Just dated men, and then a couple trans men here and there. Is that because that he had sexual relations with a trans man, he was no longer a gold star gay?
What the fuck? That's transphobic as fuck.
It is.
Knock that shit off. Knock it off. Directly off. Stop it.
Full stop.
Slam the brakes.
So, that shit pisses me off. First off, that you hold yourself to a higher standard because, you knew easier, faster. You didn't have to experience the struggles with trying to figure yourself out. Congratulations, what do you want, a fucking cookie?
Exactly.
You're not better than anyone, just sit your ass down.
Exactly. Have several seats.
So, that is a big negative. Now, I'm not saying the community as a whole is negative. We've done so many beautiful things, especially in the last few years with, Black Lives Matter and, Trans Day Remembrance. We gotta remember, a lot of the trans women that were killed are African American.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
It's so sad. It's horrible.
And there is, I can't remember who stated what their name was, And I'm pretty sure it was the person who wrote The Color Purple.
Yeah.
That book. But they talked about how there's different levels of oppression. And some people think because they have certain levels of oppression that they're better than other people. Like, take nowadays. I'll use nowadays. So, at the tip top, totally non-oppressed person. Who's that?
Old white man.
Cis, white, hetero men. Below them, what do you have? White women, black men.
Yeah.
On the same level.
Yeah.
They lose a point because woman, black.
Mm-hmm.
Below them, black women, Hispanic men or something like that, and then gay men.
Yeah.
So it kind of breaks down like that, you know, it continues to go down, 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 down. The very bottom of the barrel is any person of color is trans.
Yeah.
Because they get shit on from the cis men, from their, you know, from other minority groups, other people of color, religion, gay community, sometimes the trans community because you don't have enough gender dysphoria. I got into an argument with someone who said I was transphobic because I said I experienced gender dysphoria. Now keep in mind, I started questioning my gender not because of dysphoria, but because of euphoria. The opposite of gender dysphoria, where I actually gained happiness and like a tingly head buzz from, you know, being very effeminate.
Same though with the whole gender neutral thing.
So you don't have to have gender dysphoria to be trans. You can have gender euphoria. You can have neither and just figure it out.
Yeah.
That is fine. That is valid. But this person was saying I was transphobic because I said I personally had gender dysphoria, and they said I was transphobic and had a lot of inner transphobia to deal with. And I'm like, I'm not pushing anyone to say they have to have gender dysphoria. I'm not saying you had to have gender dysphoria. I'm not saying that, like, you had to have gender dysphoria to be trans. I said I've experienced it.
I'm trying so hard to wrap my fucking head around that.
I know it was
it.
this big like 4-day fight I had. They eventually had like deleted their account.
Damn.
Because a lot of my followers went against them.
Yeah.
And
this makes my fucking head spin.
Right?
God, what? No. That's one of those things that you just gotta let stupid be stupid, and you can't try to fix it or figure it out.
I know, but I was trying to fight to show people that this stuff's not okay.
Yes.
And where they were lacking their facts, I was countering with facts.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And my thing was, it all started because I broke down a webcomic, one where I broke down the different types of dysphoria. And they eventually found it way after I posted it.
Yeah.
And started bringing up this crap, and I'm like, there was an issue with the trans community, even with itself, that, like, you have to have gender dysphoria to be trans. And I thought that's what they were, got their hackles up at first, and that's why they were, you know, trying to bite at me. And I was like, no, I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying these are the kinds that there typically are. There may be more. These are the ones that I experience on like almost a daily basis at this point in my life. I experienced dysphoria, which for those of you who don't know, as the opposite of gender euphoria, it's a downward spiral. It's your depression. It's, I wouldn't say you have depression, but you're very, very, very sad because things are clicking.
Yeah. You
don't see your inner self when you look at your outer self or in the reflection.
And I've had that.
And it sucks. And a lot of people, like, a lot of states will have you required to have that so you can medically transition.
Which is bullshit.
It is. PA is one of them.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
So, there's a lot, like, issues within the LGBT community, but
the cool thing is, though, if you find a therapist that understands how much that's bullshit, and they understand how much you're trans, they'll write whatever you need them to for you. Help you.
My first gender therapist I had was like that.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying the LGBT community is all issues. I'm just saying, like, every community there is out there, there are some issues, and we must work together to fix them. And, some people might be like, hey, what we've said today isn't right, or that's not accurate, or something. Well, no, we'll fix it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. Let us know. We're not perfect. I never claim to be. I'm just saying these are, from what I've seen at this point in time, these are the issues. There might be issues I'm not even aware of, But, there's a lot of bad, but there's more good than there is bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like any community.
Yeah.
I'll take the gamer community.
Mm-hmm.
This one gamer was big YouTuber kind of at the time. Got really sick. Needed help with his medical bills. All these video game musicians that do covers of it came together, created Operation 1-Up, which is this album they made. I listen to it a lot.
Yeah.
And all the money they raised from it went to his medical bills.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if he made it through it or not. But a lot of toxic in the gamer community.
But that's so good, though.
But that's a good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a famous World of Warcraft player who passed, and everybody logged onto the server that day he passed, and had a march from one end of the map to the other end of the map of World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
To pay respect.
And, you have crazy, amazing stuff like that. And people are like, oh, gamers are just violent nerds, blah, blah, blah. No.
There are good.
Yeah.
There's a bit of bad that people see, but there's more good that outweighs the bad, and we're trying to fix it from within.
Something that I just looked at before our podcast today, a really popular YouTuber got COVID, and so many people were so concerned for him, and everybody was flocking to him on Twitter like, hey, are you okay? What's going on? Let us know, please. And he loves his, people who watch him so much, and he's like, I help you guys. I hope I brighten your day.
Do you want to name drop it? Because it's fine if you do.
No, I'm gonna leave it ambiguous.
Okay.
But
well, I'll name drop because I'm not yours. Who you're talking about, but Wade, who I've been watching a lot lately, or Lord Minion 777. On his live stream, the way he plays on Twitch, people can pay to leave a message that's viable. And a lot of people are saying hey, everything sucks right now. Some of them. I have COVID. I'm in the hospital. Watching you is the only thing that's bringing me joy right now in my life.
Yeah.
And I'm and he's stunned. And he's I really don't know what to say, but I'm glad whatever, the stupid stuff that I do, because I'm not really that great, but I'm glad it brings you joy kind of thing. And I'm that's the thing we need to do.
Yeah.
And that's what I think we should do as both the both as the LGBTQIA plus community and the cannabis community. The cannabis community's been doing great. There's, especially in more recent years, especially in California, where a lot of the proceeds certain companies have will go to social equity programs. Some of them will actually open up businesses to help people who are minorities, people of color who have been affected by the war on drugs and everything, to try helping their businesses get empowered. There's one there for women in cannabis. There's one for people of color in cannabis, immigrants in cannabis, so on and so forth. But that needs to be out more here too, and we don't have that out on the East Coast.
Yeah, a lot of it's very Western centric,
and a lot of things we need to work on that as a community and as just people with our government. And it's something we need to work on, but there's also that intersectionality of I was actually chatting with Bex Heller.
Yeah.
Hi, Bex.
Hi.
They were super stoked. We shouted them out and everything on our one episode where they were my Skittle.
Yeah.
And they were basically saying, we were chatting and everything, that they love talking about bringing up queer voices in cannabis, because there needs to be, there's next to none.
Yeah.
I can tell you, with less fingers on my one hand, and I have all 10 of my fingers.
Preface that with Rayven has all of her fingers.
That I can tell you probably one actual 100% out and proud queer person who is an advocate for cannabis.
Who's that?
The drag queen, now I'm drawing a blank on her name, on the name. You know
I know exactly who you're talking about.
No, because she was on,
She was on RuPaul.
Well, yeah, that's where she first got famous on it, but it was also, she was on, Bon Appetit.
Yes. Oh my god, yes. I like her. Frick, what's her name?
Laganja Estranja.
Yeah.
I can't believe I couldn't think of that. It's Laganja Estranja. But, like, name someone else that is out, proud, and queer, who is an activist for cannabis right now. That is super proactive about cannabis right now.
Nobody that I can tell you off the top of my head.
Exactly. How sad is that?
Yeah.
How sad is that? And that's why I wanted to start this
There's
podcast.
Us. We're here.
There was us, because I don't know anyone else who is super active on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Because Cool Nerd Weed Show, they talk about the East Coast. They talk about the country as a whole. They talk about other countries. They're originally from New York, New Jersey area.
Yeah.
But they're out on the West Coast now. They know a lot of the legislation out on the West Coast. They don't know states like PA, where they will talk about, news stuff, but they don't break it down like we're experiencing it here.
Yeah.
So no one really major on the East Coast. Maybe then other than like the podcast Girl Bud Yourself with Danny Danko.
There's the Hail Satan podcast.
But that's
he had one episode.
Yeah, one
and
episode.
He lives in Pittsburgh.
That's not like cannabis as a whole.
No, not cannabis as a whole, but it's an overlap of one person's one small experience.
Exactly. So, like, I wanted this to be a big thing for both pro-LGBT, pro-cannabis, mash it together. You have this wonderful, beautiful thing that we're doing every week.
And it's great. And it's nothing else is like us right now. It's
Nothing
cool.
else. Like, we're on our 13th episode.
It's so awesome.
We're in double digits.
Heck yeah.
We're internationally listened to.
Awesome. Sorry, I'm trying to get a drink.
You're good. And I know I went on a big LGBT focused episode today. Mostly because I feel like we haven't talked about it as much in the last couple episodes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring it up. Kind of be like, yes, we are here. We are queer. We are advocates for both communities. Just because I don't talk about one community in each episode doesn't mean I'm not still a voice for both of you.
Yeah.
Because I feel like queer people should marry whoever they want, whomever they want, and have their weed with it.
Isn't it that meme that's like, I feel like the marijuana farmer should be able to protect their crops with a gun, and
the lesbian farmers down the road should be able to protect their weed crops with a shotgun if they wanted to, and that's the libertarian agenda.
Yeah.
Which is not really the libertarian agenda, that's just what they advertise as it.
Yeah, but basically that.
So, yeah, I don't want anyone to think like we're not advocating for either. I sign a lot of petitions. I do what I can from where I can. Right now, I don't feel comfortable going out to physically protest with everything going on, mostly because of our moms.
Yeah.
I don't want to get either of them sick because they are both immunocompromised.
Also, speaking of which, I just got my booster. Go get your booster. Everybody get your booster.
Yeah,
I know I spoke on that briefly last episode. Go do it.
Go get your vaccinations. Go get your boosters. Make sure, that this thing stops evolving.
Yes.
But I don't feel comfortable. I barely feel comfortable going out to work every day, but I need money.
Yeah.
And going out to the stores sometimes.
And almost near to next to no one comes into my store with a mask on.
Same.
And kind of like, they all stand really close, and I'm still just kind of like, please back up. I'm not nearly as terrified since I'm vaccinated now, but I'm like, back up. We
can still carry it.
You can still carry it, and I have also been very comfortable being 6 feet away from everyone this past year and a half. I don't want you 2 feet away from my face. Back the fuck up. That's the one thing I want to keep is the social distancing.
Right.
Out of this whole goddamn thing. I hate when people are up my ass waiting in line. Or talking to me in the store.
Excuse me.
And I don't know them.
But, like, the biggest thing I wanted to bring up was, like, as I am not ready mentally or emotionally because of the fear of getting either my mom sick, I have not been physically active in protests.
Yeah.
But I share everything I can online. I use the voice I have online to share, and I sign everything I can. I know it's change.org. Do I think it's going to actually do anything? I hope it does.
Yeah, same.
But I'm not holding my breath. But I'm still going to put my name on that list.
I've signed a decent amount of them. Not probably as many as you. But I've signed a lot this past year, too. And, like, last year, too, when we were all home, and there were, like, so many petitions going around for equal pay and for hazard pay for COVID and for, like, the LGBT stuff that was trying to go through. And then, like, during the election with some of the shroom laws and, like, the weed stuff.
I will say, though, just because it's not trending anymore, Black lives still fucking matter.
Yes, Black lives still matter.
No Asian hate.
Yes, stop Asian hate.
No hate campaign. I've sent them money for, like, the LGBT stuff and, you know, other... I think they also do racial stuff, too.
Yeah, they do.
But love each other, you know. The whole stutter thing, one love. I think Bob Marley started that.
Yeah, the whole one love thing.
But just, like, don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Treat everybody with respect. Take care of everybody. I think that's where we're going to end on this episode.
Yeah.
Unless you have anything else to add.
I don't think so.
We don't have any Skittles because this has been a kind of impromptu episode because of our schedule.
I'm sorry, I feel like I've been really quiet this whole episode. Also, you have a piece of glitter in your shirt, I just noticed. It's on your shoulder.
Get it off, get it off, get it off,
really
get it off, get it off.
I also feel like Gail from, like, Letterkenny right now, the way I'm moving.
Oh, God.
Wayne.
Stop. Stop. Okay.
Anyway, let's stop this episode in a really nice place. Love everybody. We love you all.
If you want to interact with us, you know where to find us. I put our plugs in every episode.
All the social medias, press the buttons.
Before I leave, though, I did want to bring up, I tried that,
What the fuck's it called?
Papa Leg Bud number 8 again.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I didn't have a super packed bowl. I just smoked that out of a joint.
Did it be hitting you different today?
It's a lot nicer. It's not as strong.
You probably just smoked way too much.
I smoked too much, but...
Then you drop it on the floor. Oh, there it goes.
Oh,
no. Rolling away.
As I bend over on my fat butt.
Squeak, chair, squeak, squeak.
Yeah, I'm gonna update the rating on it. I'll actually give this a 4.
Yeah.
Flavor profile, not the greatest. My personal opinion. It's not the worst. It's up there. It's very citrusy. I do like it, but it's got this strange earthy tone.
Yeah.
It's a little higher on pinene. I'm not a huge fan of pinene.
You like dirt?
Yeah.
I don't like stuff that tastes like dirt. I have weed that smells like literal grass.
You do. It's weird.
It's weird. That's the shit I smoked last episode. It smells like literal fucking grass.
It wasn't terrible, but that's going to take points of it off of it, and it is. I don't know. It's cool. It works. I definitely don't feel depressed. It is probably going to be like a daily smoker kind of thing. Like thing I would take before work so my anxiety's not super bad and help with my PTSD. Like the actual medical side. That's why it's getting a high praise. The guy who recommended this to me, really spot on for what it does help.
Yeah.
But I feel like in those setting moments where I'm sitting alone, and I'm getting those dull, bored moments, and my mind starts to whirl, and I start getting those anxiety pushing into depression because of, I could be doing this, I could be doing that.
Yeah.
The what ifs, it doesn't quiet that.
Okay.
So that's another reason why it's a 4.
Okay.
Pineapple Express really helped quiet that.
Yeah. I feel like that stuff I smoked last time really helped with the anxiety like I had.
Also, I don't know if you guys can hear me shaking at the can, but...
Shaking weed, not stirred. No, that's stuff I was smoking last time. The tropical mango rain or whatever the fuck it was. I don't fucking remember. Tropical shit. That was really good. It was relieving that anxiety, get you focused on anything else, take you to a happy, uplifted place, without giving you an anxiety attack, which was nice.
Oh, one more thing before we leave.
Also, I feel like I'm being really quiet again. I'm sorry.
You're good. Don't come into my DMs and just be like, "Hey, beautiful, what's up?"
Did that happen?
Yeah, today.
On just our random...
No, on my personal Instagram.
Oh.
On High Flying Raven. Because I posted a picture about me.
Yeah.
Like that picture I sent you that you really like. I put that on my personal Instagram, and some guy from Turkey just said, you're like, "Hey, beautiful, what's up?" And I'm like...
Go away.
No. If you want to interact with me, and it'll be like, "Hey, I like your podcast. Bring up the podcast first, please, so my anxiety doesn't think you're just some random chaser trying to get into my pants."
Don't be a creeper. That's what she's trying to say. Don't be a fucking creeper in her DMs.
If you're like, "Hey, I like your..." Anyway, if you're like, "You want to interact with me? Just chat." Be like, "Hey, I like your podcast." And just start from there. Cool.
Great place to start.
Great place to start. So my anxiety and I don't automatically build up walls against, you trying to talk to me.
Yeah.
Don't just be like, "Hey, gonna throw my defenses right out." But yeah, interact with our Instagrams,
Do that.
Chat with us. If you have questions, we'll answer them on the podcast.
All the questions. Ask all the questions. Press all the buttons. Do all the things.
We'll give you a basic answer in the direct response, but we'll go in depth with it as an episode. We'll shout you out.
We might run off with it for a full episode if it's interesting enough,
So definitely interact with us. Again, my name is Raven. I use she, her pronouns.
I'm Alex. I use they, them pronouns.
And we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.